Hi everyone, I'm Hanno, co-founder and CEO at Personio. I'm excited to be back. Always like coming to NOAH because it feels like it's a very condensed group of people that are all here to increasing the relevance of the European tech ecosystem. Plus, it's also very efficient to take a bunch of meetings in a short period of time. But recently I was actually not here in London, but in San Francisco for not for cycling, as this picture might suggest, but instead for a conference called SaaStra, which is, aside from NOAH, the second conference which I regularly go to. And SaaStra, when you arrive at SaaStra, you go through this huge gate which says where the cloud meets, and that already indicates that it's sort of a leading SaaS conference where all the big players come on stage, and it's also where you then meet or see on the stage all the big leaders from these companies. And when seeing these companies, I'm always get a bit disappointed that all of these companies come from Silicon Valley or somewhere around where SaaStra actually happens. And in fact, not even only from Silicon Valley, but most of the big SaaS companies actually come from just the same kind of blocks around in downtown San Francisco. And I've then to ask myself what the reasons are, and I think there's good reasons that back in the days most of these companies have been established in San Francisco or Silicon Valley. But nowadays, I think there's no reason why category-defining and leading SaaS companies couldn't come from Europe anymore. And so what does it take to build a category-leading SaaS company like these companies? I think all of them, what they have in common is they're solving a problem for companies that every other company has, and that's a very big problem. For sales, it's Salesforce, it's managing the CRM and sales funnel. For Zendesk, it's the communication with the customers, and Slack, of course, reinvented how we communicate internally in companies. But there's another big problem that, especially in the SME, is not being solved yet, and that's HR, where over 70% of SME companies do not use a digital tool yet to manage their people. And that sounds, one, like a very low penetrated market, but also one with a lot of relevance, given that people are the single biggest influencer on any company's success. And therefore, we have built Personio to tackle that big problem and to build a category leader within HR SaaS and building a cloud-based HR management and recruiting provider. And with that, we're digitizing the entire life cycle from recruiting employees to managing them, paying them, and developing them. Plus, we have an entire reporting engine that aggregates all the data and helps you provide insights. So what this does, it essentially transforms HR and transforms HR work. It helps companies digitize their HR processes, such as vacation management, which leads to higher productivity and helps them spend less time on administrative tasks. It also helps them optimize some of the core processes, such as onboarding, and thereby help people be productive faster and have a direct impact and improve performance. And lastly, the reporting engine, which we built, helps them to analyze their data and find out things like which department actually has the highest attrition rate, and maybe is it based on supervisor, and therefore really inform strategy and improve decision-making. But if everything which is said up to that point makes sense and is true, then why only now does it make sense to build such a solution? To understand that a bit better, you should be looking, or it helps to look at a different category, in this case CRM, where in the 1990s, Siebel systems have been the first to digitize sales processes. Then in the early 2000s, famously, Salesforce was the one bringing it to the cloud. And then over the last 5 to 10 years, with technologies being evolving and getting better, it's been able to, or enabled us to build software that it's faster to implement, easier to use, and much more affordable, and therefore suitable for SMEs. And therefore, companies like Pipedrive have built that for the SMEs. So now, after these revenue-facing functions have all been digitized, a similar development has happened in the HR space, where companies like Oracle and SAP were the first ones to build such systems, then Workday bringing it to the cloud and applying the SaaS playbooks to enterprise. And now we believe that we can do the same for SMEs and bring them the benefits of a fully established cloud platform in HR. We started the company in 2015, bootstrapped initially, then raised over 3 rounds, around 50 million in venture capital, grew to north of 300 people in the same kind of time period. And most importantly, we've been able to attract around 2,000 HR teams that use our product on a daily basis, which sums up to more than 200,000 people that are managed within Personio. That's around 4 times the size of the city I grew up in, and that, it's exciting, at least for me to see. However, I mentioned initially, you have to solve a relevant problem for a lot of companies, but you also have to have a big market of those companies. And with SME companies, and given the horizontality of our product, there's 1.7 million companies between 10 and 1,000 employees within the European market that we can help do better HR with our software. And 70% of them, as mentioned earlier, 1.2 million do not use a digital platform today. And to put that into perspective, for us to become a 100 million ARR business, which isn't the end goal, but is something which we're working towards right now, we need around 8,000 to 12,000 customers, depending what package they use. And that's less than 0.5% of that market. And that shows you, I think, what kind of potential and momentum there still is yet to come. Nevertheless, we don't just want to grow to 100 million ARR, we want to grow there really fast, and we want to grow beyond. So there's 2 key strategic initiatives which we're currently pursuing that should help us achieve that and grow beyond. One is internationalization, of course, capitalizing on that large market and attracting all these companies that are also outside the DACH market. This is where we initially started. Majority of our footprint, which we established over the last couple of years, comes from the DACH market. However, early on, we've already had a very broad international usage, given that a lot of our customers are being used in various different countries around the world. Actually, 42 countries around the world is where Personio is being used today. However, in 2019, we also started to actively expand into new markets, adding UK, Spain, Nordics, and Benelux, and more actively also addressing these markets. And we've also established offices in London and Madrid to further drive this expansion already. The second, but equally important growth initiative we are pursuing is Payroll. That should not just help us increase the market, but also accelerate our growth in existing markets. And for that, we acquired earlier this year a startup called Rollbox from Spain, which was building sort of a Stripe for payroll, and which is now integrated within Personio and serves sort of as our back-end engine to run full payroll cycles. And the benefits from that, given the full integration with our current system, is we can drive a lot of automation by funneling the data right through from the employee into the existing systems. We can eliminate errors through to early validation and automation in those processes. And we can already now offer this in a multi-country approach, as the company we acquired has been running payroll for Spain, UK, and Germany already. This is a graph of some of the fastest growing SaaS companies over the last couple of years. You recognize quite some of these names, and they've been the ones that shaping the triple, triple, double, double, double mantra, which I'm sure everyone that's familiar with SaaS knows of. And this is the growth path we've been pursuing so far, and the plans for us going forward over the next couple of years. And with that, our goal for Personio is to become the category-leading HR platform for SMEs in Europe. And my personal hope for Europe as such is that there's much more category-defining B2B SaaS businesses being built and grown over the next couple of years. We want to be one of them, one of the first ones that pass through 100 million ARR, based in Europe and selling within Europe. But I think there can be much more large companies being built over the next couple of years. Thank you very much.